Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Mining company Sibanye Gold is moving towards becoming a multi-commodity miner and a significant player in the local mining industry, having recently announced a few strategic acquisitions. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Leandi.
Firstly, Martin, Sibanye this week announced that it bid 4 billion rand to acquire Aquarius Platinum. What are the reasons for this?
Well, cometh the hour, cometh the man, and the man is Neil Froneman, and he's really he's engaged in a lot of transactional activity at the moment, and one gets the feeling that there's still a lot to come. And the deal with Aquarius was a very interesting one, and it's the second platinum deal in as many months. And it's he targets companies that are still making a profit, still well run, because he's got his dividend to protect, because he's committed his shareholders, he's committed the Sibanye Gold company to paying dividends, and shareholders have now taken in that message very loudly, and he doesn't want to deviate from that. So if he does engage in transactional activity, acquisitions, he wants to make sure that it doesn't damage that promise to his shareholders. So you'll see that with the Aquarius deal, although he paid 4 billion rand, he will pay for the entire issued share capital. Both his shareholders and also the Aquarius shareholders liked it. You know, you saw the Aquarius shares lifting more than 30%, the Sibanye shares lifting more than 10%. And this has become a little bit customary with the deals that he does. There seems to be a huge buy-in from the boards of directors on both sides, and it means that it's got a better chance of going through. Of course, it's still got to meet some hurdles, but there's an expectation that these deals will go through, and it's an interesting move for Sibanye Gold, which will become a precious metals company rather than just a gold company with platinum there. And also, when it mines gold, it mines uranium, and we know that Neil Froneman is very keen on uranium. You know, at one stage he ran Uranium One. So he's close to that market and that industry. I think he's watching it very carefully. Although it's down now, the chances are, you know, it could lift in the future. So that multi-commodity aspect is moving in, as you said.
And then, Martin, how will the deal with Aquarius tie in with Sibanye taking over Amplat's Rustenburg operations?
There's even a physical tie in there, because they're next door neighbours. So, you know, Anglo-American Platinum has had a pool and share arrangement with Kroondal Platinum, which was always mechanized as well. And so they will look for synergies there. They believe they can unlock about 400 million rand a year over 3 years. Being next door neighbours, they can do a lot of things together and take down what we call the farm fences, because, you know, we know that in the past people used to get mineral rights in terms of surface coverage. So you would find that the farm fences on the surface dictated what happened underground. So you could be almost abutting one another, but you'd be two separate mines. When you remove that, you get automatic synergies. So there should be an unlocking of value through the next door neighbour situation between Rustenburg Platinum, Kroondal Platinum, and he's looking around at the other farm fences as well. So I think he might take a few down.
And then the company has also indicated that it would like to enter the coal space. How will Sibanye do this, and what will it mean for its business?
Yeah, it's interesting, that coal space. You know, the Waterberg coal company has been financially stressed. Along comes Sibanye and de-stresses it and says, look, we will buy up to 51% of your shares over a period of time. Everyone thought, well, now, you know, it's really diversified. The Sibanye is going into commodities beyond precious metals. But I think they've made it clear from the start that they want to generate their own electricity. Not that they will diversify into electricity generation, but they'll tie up with an independent power producer, and they will have that coal to offer, which could mean that, you know, the price at which they generate electricity is somewhat cheaper than the price at which you can buy electricity from Eskom, which again gives it a good position, because it's got some deep and dark, and some people say dangerous mines in the gold sector that need quite a lot of electricity, and now it's got some platinum mines that are also deep and also require a lot of electricity. But we see with the Aquarius deal, he's also getting shallow mines, and that's an important point, because some of those shallow mines are across South Africa's borders, in Zimbabwe. We know that Great Dyke has also got very valuable platinum resources, and in the near term, cheaper resources because they're closer to surface. So he's got that foothold now through this deal with Aquarius into Mimosa, where there's a joint venture between Aquarius and Implats. So it takes him across into a broader field of platinum activity. And so it's strategic from that point of view as well.
Yes, and then Neil Froneman has said that Sibanye wants to be South Africa's new mining champion. How will all these acquisitions support the company in doing that?
Yeah, I think that he's put his hand up and he's told people he wants to be the champion, and he doesn't let the grass grow under his feet. You can see that, this former motor racer wants to move fast, and his acquisition pace is quite impressive. And so we can see that he's got a vision that you can see already that he's going to be a diversified miner. We see already that it's not only precious metals, it's also uranium. We see coal thrown in, and you can start in coal to generate your own electricity, but who says you won't go deeper into coal? And then this whole area of platinum demand and the price at the moment could possibly mean that his vision is that the price will go up at some stage. He also believes he can mine more efficiently. So the chances are he's going to make more acquisitions. Why he doesn't go in for a company like Lonmin is because Lonmin's running at a loss, and he doesn't want to go into places that are running at a loss, because then his promise to the shareholders that they're going to get dividends, could be damaged. So he wants to go for deals that are accretive and deals where he thinks, well, with my experience, I might add 10% production. And if the price goes up, can you imagine? We will be running up the ladder. And I think he's working in close proximity to, the call by the government and the African National Congress for a South African mining champion. We need a champion. The fact that we haven't got a big diversified miner on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange like Sydney has got with BHP Billiton and Rio Tinto, is a gap that needs to be filled. And people who come to South Africa immediately see that. And we know that with Mark Kudufani, with his Australian background and with his Canadian background, when he came here, he was quite shocked that we didn't have a big diversified miner, that the government had allowed us to, the Anglo-American company, to list in London. And unlike the Australians, who said straight away, you're going to have a dual headquarters. One in Melbourne, one in London. We're not letting this company rush out of here. I think the government at the time wasn't experienced enough and said, okay, you can have a secondary listing in Johannesburg, but that has turned, Anglo into a bit of a ghost town because of the decisions all being taken in London. It's been a big blow to South Africa, a big blow to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And the African National Congress in particular was saying, no, we need to fill this gap. And along comes Neil Froneman, puts his hand up and says, I'll fill it. And you can see he's moving in quite fast, and he's very conscious of the national need to preserve jobs. So he's saying that this latest deal of his could even be job accretive. It might add more jobs. So that's also a very important point if he wants to be a champion and to ingratiate the unions and also government.
Thanks for speaking to us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Leandi.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.